Ladies and gentlemen, you've probably been watching some random game on BT Sports Europa League. That's boring. Turn off your TV. Welcome to Khanage. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the LFC Daytrippers community. You're most welcome to Khanage. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all keeping safe. Today's show is slightly different from the normal Khanage that happens on this show. Today I've got, and the reason for that is the caliber of guests I've got, to be honest with you. Sometimes you have like these guests where you just let the talent do the talking, let them chill, let them relax, let them talk the beautiful game. And I've got two of the finest people I know in the fan media game. I'm not going to lie. I've got Finn, the Wolves, my Wolves fan. Absolute pleasure to have you on, Finn. Thank you so much. I know it's short notice, but thank you very much for coming on, man.
Pleasure. This suits my lockdown sort of sleeping pattern perfectly as well. This time, this is when I'm most awake. So looking forward to it.
Amazing. Yeah, often like, we ask guests to come on and they always talk about sort of how late we go on. And I don't know, we've always been late birds at the Daytrippers. I can't explain it, but it's we've got a lot of community that stays up late with us now. I know, like 10 o'clock's not that late, is it? Is it really that late? It's not. No.
Peak of the day now.
It's exactly. It's the norm now, isn't it? It's norm.
Yeah.
I know. My other guest, I call him a guest, but he's my brother. Cal, I know you're an early bird, and I know this is hard work for you when we're talking about these kind of things.
I'll be honest, no time is alien to me at the moment because my little one feels as though he can wake up and go to sleep whenever he wants at the moment. So anytime is just any time.
Yeah, he's the boss. Yeah, they're the bosses, man. Exactly. Yeah. They dictate what kind of days we have, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Fully.
I know how it works. But how you been? Anyway, you good?
Can't complain, brother.
I see you've done about 4 shows today. Busy man in demand.
Yeah, it's been a busy one today. It has been. But I gotta keep busy, man. Gotta keep busy, grinding it out.
Absolutely, definitely. Finn, how you been anyway? What's happening? We're discussing just before we came on live about sort of the state of lockdown and what tier you guys are in. It's miserable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's another way to in tier 3 anyway. It's another way to basically just say lockdown at the moment. It's just sort of continued these last few days. I think gyms are open. Not that I'll be near them anyway. And that's the only real change. So yeah, it's I think it's the closest club around us is Shrewsbury, which is about 45 minutes away. That have got 2,000 in the ground. So that's the closest we could really go for any football, but for Wolves, for the foreseeable, it's 0 people in the stadium, and I think the Wolves players will find it weird. Yeah, having seen 2,000 watching them at the weekend, it's not great, but there's been good news the last few days, and hopefully we're coming toward seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with all this.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we were just saying, sort of, the football's kind of keeping us sane, like normal. We've got things to discuss. Or whoever's team's doing well. I mean, imagine teams that are not doing well in times like this as well. The fans of those clubs, man, I dread to think. But look, tonight was Europa League, and first thing I thought, and I checked the schedule and who's playing tonight. And I'm so used to associating Wolves playing on a Thursday night, and I was thinking, surely they haven't got a game tonight, just before they play us. But has that lack of Europa League helped you guys? Are you happy with it, or do you miss it because you've been in it quite the last couple of years, right?
Well, yeah. Well, no, I'm not used to it at all. It was only the first season I've ever seen Wolves in Europe was last season, and it's only been that one. So it was a bit surreal to me, really. And it was such a shame that in the one season I got to go abroad finally and see my own team play. That then I think it was by the round of 32 that everything was locked down, and it was like, right, brilliant. So because I saved a few of my like work holiday days to be able to save for like semi-final, quarter-final, then they're all behind closed doors. So it was annoying, yeah, but it was an amazing experience. I managed to go to Braga in Portugal and Barcelona to play. Sadly, not Barcelona, Espanyol, the other team in Barcelona. But it was amazing. And I think in a weird way, it's been a real debate around Wolves fans that our best results last season came on a Sunday after a Thursday. For example, I remember an amazing week where we beat Besiktas away in Turkey and then famously beat Man City that 2-0, the two Adama goals on the Sunday a few days later. And we look sharper on a Sunday after playing in the week. We always seem to get knocked out of the cups pretty early. We were out of the first round of the League Cup this season. And we've got Crystal Palace at home, FA Cup, so it just screams that we're going to get knocked out in that one. So there's not many games around compared to last season when it was like, I think our season was the longest in record ever because we had those qualifiers dead early on in July or whatever, and it went on over a year. So it is strange getting used to almost going back to normality of what we used to have. But to be honest, sometimes they looked really tired last season. Sometimes you're saying, oh, it's made them sharper. I remember another week where we went to Espanyol and then beat them and then beat Tottenham on the Sunday as well. So I don't know where I sit on it. I don't think we're especially looking less sharp, but no one's at their peak, are they really this year? No one's. You can't really say, oh, Wolves aren't looking right because of Europa League football. We got to the quarters of Europa League, so we got the really, really short break, just like Chelsea, Man United, Man City, and that can't have helped either. But it's not a massive talking point, to be honest, within Wolves fans. And I think if any season we have to sort of sacrifice Europa League football, it's this one, because if we're in it, I want to be there and seeing it, because as a Wolves fan, these days don't come along very often. So hopefully maybe next season we can time it well. But this season it was on a knife edge. We basically needed Chelsea to win the FA Cup final and would have been in and had Arsenal's place, but they got it for winning the cup final. So it was really close, and I think Chelsea were odds on for that one. So of course it didn't happen, but it was really close.
You know, it's really interesting to sort of hear your views on sort of how the season's going, and you're thinking that it's not so congested for Wolves, or it doesn't feel like it's so congested, like the games are fairly spread out. Cal, it's the mad opposite for us, isn't it? It seems everyone's claiming that was Klopp's Rafa moment in that interview he'd done last week, wasn't it? With just the facts, yeah. So this one. How did you find that interview? Just quickly, I haven't got your opinion here. We haven't chatted about it yet. What did you think?
I'm quite happy Klopp kind of went on a rant about it, to be honest. I think we sometimes as fans forget that footballers are human beings. Like, they've got friends, they've got families, and they need rest just as much as we do. They're athletes, and us going to work, doing a 9 to 5, we feel tired. So them, and I know people are going to be like, oh, but they get paid a stupid amount of money. Yes, they do, but that's what their talent dictates. It just is what it is. They still have to have a break as well. And Klopp's right. When you're playing on a Wednesday and then you've got to have a quick turnaround and play again on a Saturday, effectively a Saturday morning, it's a lot to deal with. And I just think it's good it was said. I think it all got escalated because Des Kelly just wouldn't kind of take a step back and see the bigger picture. I think he felt that it was a personal attack against him, which I feel was a bit silly personally. But I'm happy Klopp did that. I don't think Klopp's rattled. No, in fact, I take that back. I think Klopp's rattled, but not by the league. He's rattled by the situation we're in as a club. But him being rattled doesn't make me lose faith in him. It just, to me, it shows me that he cares, and he cares about the well-being of the players. And again, people throw this out of junction because it came after a result that wasn't too favourable to us. But he did the same thing after the Leicester City game when we won as well.
Absolutely,
he said the exact same thing. So it's not a case of he's just throwing his toys out of the pram because we didn't win the game. He's been consistent with this message. So is Solskjaer. So is Guardiola. It's not just Klopp doing it. So I'm glad he did it. It's just I still don't think anything will come of it. And I'll be honest, even as a content creator myself, I'm just seeing how difficult this is, because at the moment, you guys must be feeling it at the moment as well. It feels like I'm filming 2-3 times a day, every day. It's a lot, and obviously we're just content creators. We're not going out on the field and being scrutinised by millions of people. So I think Klopp did the right thing personally.
Yeah, do you know, it's difficult because, look, at times, and we've been speaking about it on our show as well, and I must admit, at times I did feel a bit awkward watching it, and I think that was down to sort of the way he was being questioned and interviewed. Some of the questions, because I watched Ole Gunnar Solskjaer interview, and he gave the exact same answers, but the question and the tone of questions were so different, and that's what was frustrating. And as you said, he didn't say it on the back of a defeat. Even he said it in the back of a draw. But it was the circumstances, sort of a culmination of events that he's a passionate man. It was just passion poured over. Yeah. As a neutral, Finn, did you see the Klopp interview? What did you make of it?
I was decorating the Christmas tree with it on in the background, and then you heard sort of the voices being raised, and you go, "Hang on!" Like, I was looking around the tree, going, "Oh, this is kicking off a little bit." This is, and I heard, firing for Chris Wilder. I thought, "Oh, hello, here we go." But no, it was just interesting to see a sort of interview, not just go, "Okay." He sort of went back at him. I thought, "Oh, this is going to kick off here." And I know a club that we were sort of on the substitutes thing. Even we're a very, very small squad, and I know 100% we'd have voted for 3 subs and keep the bench small, because we were chucking loads of kids on the bench when it was the larger benches and the 5 subs at the end of last season. So for Wolves, this current system works, but that's 1 game a week with a tiny squad. So I can completely see your end of the bargain and why Klopp was getting so annoyed. And it's not just him, as you say. All the teams in European competition are saying the same thing. So it's not. But you're right in sort of Solskjaer said it, and it was like, right, okay, thank you. And then Klopp, they're going, well, no, this, that.
Well, this is it. I found. Do you know what it is? It's natural, because Klopp is box office, right? They know his box office. They know his reputation. He doesn't hold back. He speaks, what's on his mind, wears his heart on his sleeve, all that kind of stuff. And he loves the club. And as a Liverpool fan, that love poured out, and you saw that all he cared about was for Liverpool. Yes, there was a couple of things in there that he said which I think were awkward to watch as a Liverpool fan, even. But you can't blame him. That's the reason why us Liverpool fans love this fella, that we can relate to him. Do you know what I mean? He talks like us. He feels our pain, kind of thing, and he speaks on our behalf. So we can't sort of, it's a bit sort of cringe at times. Well, actually, that was the first time ever I felt a bit awkward for him. But I thought, basically he got his message across. The broadcasters got what they wanted to hear. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those things that, the media love to make it bigger than it really was. I mean, as you said, all our managers, even your manager, we've heard Nuno had awkward interviews in the past, when they sort of, sometimes they play on the, how shall I put this without sort of calling them basically, xenophobic at times. Do you know what I mean? But they play on the guys not being, English not being their first language. I felt that at times, Klopp, wanted to word it differently, maybe, and that. Cal, do you think there's a case for that where he could have worded some things better?
Yeah, I think the one thing I didn't like was a little dig at Chris Wilder. Yeah, I thought that was a bit harsh, and that kind of came out of nowhere as well. I was just like, Klopp, you didn't need to say that last bit. But as you said, I think it comes down to how the reporter or the interviewer is a lot of the time. And again, I'm sure we've all interviewed people on our channels and stuff like that. There's a way to set a tone in a question. And I think if you get the tone of the question right, you as the interviewer should actually be able to step back and be like, you know what, I asked that incorrectly. Let me rephrase it, or ask it in a different tone. Or because at the end of the day, as Des Kelly, you're working for BT Sport. You don't own BT Sport. So you should be able to, and even if you own BT Sport, you should have enough to know that there are going to be people who criticize what you do, and you've got to be able to take it sometimes. And if you think the criticism is unwarranted, then by all means you say why you think it's unwarranted. But even then, you've got to address it in a proper tone as well. And I don't think what Klopp was saying was unwarranted. And again, the proof's in the pudding, where most of the managers are saying the same thing. And then you look at all the other top leagues in Europe; they've all got the 5 sub rule, and they break up their games over a better period, whereas we don't. So it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go on, Tete Q, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, Boss Show Grizz, love seeing the collabo with hashtag Kopish. I love seeing the collabo as well every time. They're a wonderful bunch of brothers out there. So everyone needs to go out and follow them as well. Subscribe to their channel. And while I'm talking about subscription and likes, man, let's get these likes up. Apparently, it's the business. So yeah, man, it's free. Just press a finger and press a like. Talking about players' safety and well-being and everything, Finn, we saw a very, very unfortunate incident with Jimenez, and was it Louise, wasn't it, who went in the how is he? What's the latest on Jimenez from a Wolves point of view?
I think there was an update today from the club doctor saying he's made excellent progress, but you don't sort of know what to believe because you're hearing contrasting things. For example, I didn't really know much about that type of injury before. Obviously, the immediate things you think Petr Cech, Ryan Mason, and I've sort of read up on it almost. And I remember seeing the day after Jimenez had done it, and he'd obviously been rushed to hospital, and Ryan Mason said he was in hospital for 8 days. And apparently that was some sort of bad sign or something that he was in for that long. But they've said today in the excellent progress sort of speech that he's going to be out of hospital early next week. Okay. Now, he did it on a Sunday. That's going to be touching 8-9 days. So that in my head, that's alarm bells ringing. But by all accounts, everyone's saying that it's going as well as it could have when you saw what you saw straight away. I mean, that game for any Wolves fan just paled into insignificance. He's like as you can you see just above me? That's Jimenez right there on the wall. He's just an absolute cult hero, icon. I think one of the guys high up in Wolves in the marketing said we now have more Mexican Wolves fans than English fans follow the Twitter account. It's not only what he does for us as well. He's a global sort of like they're David Beckham almost, and it's really helped me with the stuff I do. I've got a large Mexican audience, so of all players for it to happen to such a vital cog in that Wolves team, it's a real shame, and it's hard to really talk about it because people are saying get well soon, but you don't want to rush him back to the pitch. I'm almost saying get well as quick as you want, mate. You sort of he's just had his first child. And I just thought when I was watching it that, like, think of it, his wife's or his girlfriend at home with his new young child. Apparently, she then rushed straight to London. It's horrible. That type of injury, it really is the worst because it's not necessarily going to keep you out the longest time, but it's the biggest threat to, at the end of the day, a life. He didn't move for about 10 minutes on the pitch live on Sky, and we're thinking, is he even breathing at this point? And I think that first 10 minutes were bright. I think we did everything. Like the doctors, even Arsenal's medical team, they were on helping him as well. There's a big crowd around him, and I think they've done well in that vital first 10 minutes. But it's just, it's really sickening. And even though we got the win, it didn't feel like it didn't even feel like a football game, let alone a win against a top 6 team. It's the worst.
It's the worst feeling. It's the worst sort of sight in football, isn't it? When you see a player just unconscious out
motionless,
there. Motionless. The first, all our thoughts and prayers are with Jimenez, and hopefully makes a full recovery. I mean, as you said, don't come back soon. Just come back when you're you don't even come back. You make sure you're absolutely fine and healthy, and everything's okay, and then sort of football secondary. As you said, just young family you talk about, right? You just said it. So he became a father recently. You said so. All our thoughts and prayers are for his family. Cal, so we're talking about Wolves this weekend. Just your general thoughts of playing Wolves, on the back of everything, injuries, COVIDs, players out. It's like we just do a call on the night before, don't we? And whoever's fit, you're in the team. Our Wolves are very, very good team, in my opinion. Very well coached, technically great players that they've now added. I felt last season, maybe Finn wants to jump in, but I felt last season you guys were a bit. You had wonderful technical players, but not much pace in the team. I think you've, apart from we know.
Dharma,
we know.
Limb for the Dharma.
Olympic Traore, we know. But with the emergence of Neto, Prudence, I think you've added, even at fullback areas, the young, how do you pronounce his left back's name?
We just call him Ryan. His first name Ryan Nouri, I think it is.
That's fair play. And your other fullback, Semedo, I think you've added quite a bit of pace in your team. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, you just judge it by good players on FIFA, really. You look at their pace on FIFA, and they're all up there this year. But no, yeah, we really haven't. It's not only. I think we've sort of let the handbrake off slightly in the last few games, especially compared to last season. And you could really see towards the end, the lockdown games, and especially in those Europa League knockouts, we just didn't have it in us to run. I mean, we were sitting back against Sevilla, just like we'll do against any top team, but unlike games against you or against Man City in the past where we break at pace, we couldn't get over the halfway line. It was just they had nothing left in them. Yeah. So it was slightly that. It wasn't all just the players. It was however 70-odd games they played or whatever it was, ridiculously. But no, yeah, we've injected a lot of pace there, as you say, at the full-back / wing-backs now. It's really strange, Wolves going through this transition. I've never seen us stray from 5 at the back in 4 years. The last 2 games is the only times we've ever played 4 at the back. So it's strange to know what we're going to do now, going from one of the most predictable teams in the league to me not even knowing what we're going to do, watches every second. So yeah, it's been good changes. And I like the last time I was on this channel was talking about Jota, and I was gutted to see him go. But at the end of last season, it was Neto and Podence that were taking his place. As crazy as that seems, there is potential there. Obviously, Jota's done what he's done, and Klopp's unlocked something in him that we just didn't see in that last 6 months. And it's been horrible to see, but amazing to see at the same time, because he was a real sort of, just like Jimenez, an absolute icon at Wolves as well for getting us promoted and doing what he did, and like iconic goals to take us to Wembley. So it's been a real strange transition, especially now the biggest transition of all, completely changing, like ripping up the sort of philosophy that Nuno bangs on about all the time, to changing that completely. And it's going to be an interesting one at the weekend to see what he does.
Cal, how are we feeling about Wolves coming over to our place? We're going to have 2,000 fans in. Jota's going to be making his debut in front of the fans, and look what team he's going to be making it against. How are we feeling about Wolves coming over? How are you feeling personally about it?
Playing against Wolves is always an uneasy feeling, and I've always felt like that, especially since they've come back into the league. Outside of Liverpool, obviously, Wolves are one of the teams I have a nice connection with. Like, I've got family who live in Wolves and used to go out there quite a lot as a kid. And I just like the way they play football. And dare I say it, obviously, I don't wish injury on Jimenez, especially the type of injury he's had. But the fact that they haven't got Jimenez, I actually feel makes them even more dangerous. And
interesting.
You look at, and the reason I say that, and again, Grizz, you'll know this as well, because I wasn't making any secrets about this. When we were linked with Jota heavily in the summer, I kind of didn't want him. He was the last out of the Wolves players I wanted. I wanted Adama over him, and I wanted Neto over him. And then we've got Jota, and as I said, I put on so much weight because I have to keep on eating humble pie when it comes to Jota now.
You'll be there, bro. You'll be there. That's what I blame my size on, bro. Humble pie.
And I just think to myself, if Jota's come from there, and arguably, and even as you said, Finn, for the last 6 months, he wasn't the one performing. Neto, Podence and Traore as a potential front three starting against our team could spell real danger. And I think we'll win the game, but I'm not expecting an easy game, nor am I expecting it to be a game where we dominate. I think it'll be similar to the game at Anfield last season, where we rode our luck a little bit and it was a tough game.
Look, we've touched upon Jota, and I don't think I've stressed Finn enough about Jota, and I'm going to do that now because we done a show when Jota was on the verge of signing for Liverpool, and I remember, and a lot of our viewers, listeners remember telling me afterwards that fella was so sad, like he was heartbroken. He must be a gem. And Finn, at the time, fair play to you. You did talk about, and you did tell us about the emergence of Neto, Podence, tell me, did you in your wildest dreams really think that he'd make this impact at Liverpool? I know you said you thought he'd be okay, but to us, we've done you, mate. like, we've done you so bad, like 40 million. You must.
Don't rub it in, Grizz. No, don't rub it in, obviously.
No, I told him I told him before that I'm going to have to, mate. Now, but look, because he was one of those players that I often used to think, no disrespect to Wolves, I used to think he could play at a higher level because he just had this sort of this intensity, this personal drive in him that I always used to think that he could do it at another level. Did you?
Yeah, and do you know what? I've always seen him. I've said, it's on record, it's so annoying. Like you've said about the comments with Jota signing him. I've always said when he was our player, on podcasts, I've said he will be the one that will never leave. I said Adamas will come and go, Neves will come and go, Jota will never leave, because he did this one interview with a Wolves journalist, and he started talking about Football Manager, and he said, I don't like being the top dog, I like being the underdog. He said he took up, of all teams, I don't know if you know around us, the area, Telford. They're in the Vanarama north or south. We're in the middle. We're either one, I can't remember. And he said, I took them on in Football Manager. I like being the underdog. I don't like it. So, and then when it's like Jota to Liverpool, it's like, nah, that's the opposite of what he wants. And all of a sudden, he's at the top and absolutely smashing it. So I've always been confident that he would be the player to see through the entire project. And obviously that shows how much I know. But I'm confident he will go through a patch at Liverpool where he will tackle himself when he's in on goal and he will look useless. But he's going through a period now that he's had at Wolves as well. He looks unstoppable. He's just, the ball's glued to his feet. He's got such a powerful shot. He's got two really good feet. And when you see him on the form that he's on now, it's hard not to smile. Like I've refused to put him in my FPL team because I had him in and then took him out when he moved to Liverpool. And I think if I put him in and maybe like triple captain him, it may curse him not to score against Wolves this weekend, because I don't think any other way. It's amazing what you guys have managed to do with him. And I think one of the main things I was saying is that he only really worked with Wolves in a two up front. When he was out wide on the left, it really wasn't working. He's better when he's in that sort of, like they say with Calvert-Lewin, sort of between the sticks. He likes to be sort of there to be able to just unleash that shot. And you guys have been so versatile with him, and it seems to have worked wherever he's been put. And it's crazy to see. I was just going to, it's interesting that you said that at Wolves he played there. I was going to ask Cal, have we been surprised with his versatility? I mean, as Finn's just said, apparently at Wolves, and Finn knows, because Finn knows Wolves like no one knows Wolves, that he played in a floating role. Is that right, Finn? Like in a two or whatever, sometimes. Yeah, like sort of second striker. Yeah, never really as a lone striker. It was always either off the left in a three or up front with Jimenez being that sort of man to bounce it off, if you know what I mean. Now, Cal, with us, he's played all three positions, I think, and even behind the striker in one. What have you made of his adaptation to the Liverpool system and everything? Amazing. As I said, I really wanted Adama or Neto. I was big fans of those two players, and I thought Jota was good. And I even went out. I feel so stupid now because I was just like, he's not. Is he really that guy to take us to the next level? And I saw him play, and he was playing his first goal was with Arsenal, wasn't it? Yeah. And the way he took the goal, I was like, okay, there's something about him, because no one just takes the goal like that. I don't even know if Salah scores that goal. And obviously Salah's a killer in front of goal, but that type of, he's taking it on one knee and then he just half volleyed it with the other foot. And I'm like, okay. I knew he had two good feet, but let's see where he goes from there. And then he's played from the left, he's looked dangerous. He's played from the right, he's looked dangerous. Playing through the middle against Atalanta, ripped them to shreds. Ripped them to absolute shreds. Oh, yeah. The game against Ajax the other day, you didn't know where he was playing because he was all over the place. He's a pressing machine. He can score with headers. He can score with both feet. He's got pace for days. He's got trickery. We've got a total package of a player, and he's still only 23. Am I right in saying? Amazing. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. It's crazy. I'm so happy no one at the club listens to me. If they did, we wouldn't have him. I'm so happy. Do you know, Jota, Finn, when that show, when we asking for comparisons to sort of players, and you made a very good observation at the time, and I was waiting for it to sort of, to see what you meant, and now I know what you meant. Cal, Finn said he's got a bit of Suarez about him in terms of the way he dribbles,
like sometimes he doesn't seem though he's in control of the ball, but he will still get through the player. Deceptively quick. I mean, you don't think of him. Oh, absolutely. That was my next thing. You don't look at him and you think a strong player. We're going to touch on someone else who I think looks like that in your team currently, who you sort of plays in a position. But Jota has that bit of Suarez about him, bit of Owen. Do you know what I mean? A mixture of a few, bit of Torres in him. The way he just sort of that one finish he done against Atalanta, where he's clean on the lip. How would you describe his playing style? A combination of all three, would you say? The players I've mentioned, like Owen, Torres, Suarez, is a combination, isn't it? Cal?
Yeah, I think so, Grizz. As I said, I can't speak high enough of it, because remember, he's come into a team as well where you've got probably one of the most settled front threes in world football. And he's disrupted that. He's basically said to every one of those players, right, you have one or two bad games, I'm coming in, I'm taking your spot. And you may be sitting on the bench for a little while. Like Bobby's had to kick it up a notch again.
Absolutely.
Mane and Salah are now looking at another player thinking, wow, like we were the goal scoring wingers in the league. This guy's coming in, he's kind of showing us up at the moment.
Do you know what was in his job description? Go and disrupt and the Liverpool front three and go and disrupt other defenses. And he's done exactly. Absolutely.
It's perfect. It's perfect what he's done.
So we've spoken about sort of Jota being a major threat for you guys. Who else are you looking sort of at and saying, look, we need to worry about? But it doesn't have to be a certain player, but sort of the area, sort of where we attack from, or is it the midfield, or where's Liverpool's main threat going to come from, in your opinion?
Well, you'll have to update me on what the team news is, because I never know who's fit and who isn't with you guys at the moment.
We don't know either.
I was going to say, I can't do that and be all clever and ITK, but no, we don't know shit, mate. We don't know who's not.
For example, like THIAGO, who I've loved for years. Is he around? Is he going to be?
No,
okay.
We signed him. It's like a dream. Like it was like, was it a mirage? What was it, man? THIAGO's done out here. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you what I can tell you. I think we will have just so you don't have any sleep in the forthcoming nights. I think we're going to have all front four playing against you.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So have a bit of that. But from your point of view, you guys have reverted to a 4, I believe, a back 4, where, as you say, Wolves are renowned to play back 5. Nuno's 3 centre backs, all of them tall, massive, strong. And then quick wing backs. What's caused the change in formation?
Well, it was meant to be like after the first game. It was because Cody was out. He'd caught something or been in contact with someone on England duty and was having to isolate for 14 days. I think it was the 15th day, that Southampton game, the first time we played the 4 at the back, but they just said he wasn't up to scratch to be playing that game. So we, ironically, on all the graphics and stuff, we have Dendoncker, who's a very versatile player. So they brought out the team lineup graphic and we went, okay, it's Dendoncker in the back 3, which would have made it Kilman, Bolly, Dendoncker, as you say, all 6'4" plus at the back there. But then I was watching the game thinking, okay, this will be a back 5 like the last 4 years of my entire life that I've watched. And I go, hang on, Dendoncker's playing as like an advanced sort of playmaker here. What's going on? And it appeared that it was a back 4. And that game went okay. We sort of played more of a structured 3 midfield of Dendoncker, Neves, Moutinho, and we weren't doing great. And then we brought on Neto, which moved Podence into the whole of a sort of 4-2-3-1. And I'd never seen anything like it. It was so fair last year to say that we were boring, laborious. I saw someone just say, it's flipped, isn't it, in the chat, that Jota's getting more chances at Liverpool. And that is so fair, because last year, Jimenez, if he was put in a team that could make more chances, he'd be getting 20, 30 a season. We had to be so clinical and so defensively good. And all of a sudden, we've let the handbrake off. And we were creating chances all over the place. You've got a man in that hole that we've never had before. And against a team like Arsenal, it worked well. Whether we'll revert back to the 5, to be honest, with the threat we could be facing against you guys, I could see the 5 coming back. So I'm not going to hype up this 4 too much. But it's just nice to have an option, because we were the most predictable team in the league. And now there's something in Klopp's mind that we'll be going, what if it is a 4? And it also showed that Cody as well, for us wanting him to be in the England team, It was always, well, he can't play in a 4, he can't play in a 4. He did it at the weekend, and he was brilliant. Obviously, it's annoying as well if you guys need a centre-back in January, because we were thinking sort of, oh, well, he only plays in a 3, Liverpool won't want him, and then now if he pulls up trees in the next month, I almost want him to have a few clangers or something. But
no, I think the Wolves people will not let Liverpool anywhere near your team at the moment, and if they do, they're going to ask premium prices now after what we've done for you. Predictable, I guess, was one sort of criticism, but if it was getting you success and results, then I don't think you would have minded too much, did you? And I think we're a bit similar last season in terms of people started thinking we've become predictable. We know how Klopp's going to set up 3 in midfield, the usual back 4, and the front 3. That's gone to shit now, isn't it, Cal?
Yeah.
Because we haven't got that back 4 at all. We've lost goal. We haven't got the midfield anymore. What we've literally got is our front lads, touch wood, man. Fingers crossed, and all of that stuff, man, that they stay fit and healthy. From our point of view, how do we approach this then? Knowing that they've probably going to go with that pacey front 3 that Finn's alluded to. Yeah. And then we've got a makeshift back 4 who have done tremendous, absolutely tremendous. I mean, Matip is just the most frustrating biscuit I've seen, in it. He's a £60 million centre-back right there. If only he could just play 75% of the games. Fabinho's been a revelation at centre-back. But then I told you he's going to be that at the start of the season. Yeah. We know it.
Well, I was with you, remember? I wanted Lovren gone. I was with you.
Yeah, it was drift. We catch him later.
Yeah.
But, how do we approach this from a Liverpool fan point of view, man? How do we go? Do we turn it into a tactical battle? Do we see if what Nuno does, or do we just concentrate on our strengths and go at them? How do we approach this?
Slugfest. It's got to be a slugfest. You can't go up. And again, that's probably the biggest compliment I can give to Wolves is you can't go out there and play a tactical game with that front 3, in my opinion, especially with our makeshift defence as well. Like they will tear us to pieces. I think you have to treat this as, right, we'll attack, you'll attack, and just hope that we're the more clinical team. I think you're right in saying, and again, I predicted, well, not my predicted lineup, but the lineup I wanted to see is that front 4 of Firmino, Jota, Salah, and Mane, because I think if you can keep Wolves midfield and their defence pushed back as much as possible, then you can potentially suffocate the front 3 by stopping the delivery of the ball to those front 3. Because I don't think you're going to stop them in one-on-one situations very often. But if you can starve them of service, then that's a way around it. In the same way we did to Leicester, we starved Vardy of service, so his threat became nullified. If you could do that with Wolves, if you can starve that front 3 of service, you could potentially make the game a lot easier. And then again, you've got Cody, though, who we know of having like a Van Dijk who can ping a ball 60, 70 yards and just break the lines quite easily. So that's another thing and that's again the reason why I want to go 4, because if you can have someone make sure Cody's not able to get the ball and just dictate play from that centre-back position, it helps us as well. So I think we have to fight fire with fire in this game.
I think it's going to be, you know what, guys? I think it's going to be very similar to the Ajax game, because I think I see a lot of Ajax in this Wolves team in terms of technically very able players. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. I think this must be one of your more sort of confident visits. Looking forward to this, Finn, from a Wolves point of view, the form you're in, the state of our. I'm not building this up to sort of, do you know what I mean? To make sort of you guys favourites, but I think it's definitely one of those games where you've got nothing to lose. You're in a good vein of form. Does Nuno go there? This is the vital question. Does Nuno go there with a mindset of play 4 at the back, as you said, play the 3 sort of your Dendoncker? Have I killed his name? What's his name?
It's close, yes. Dendoncker.
I do that shit. Just stop me if I do that. Dendoncker, Neves, and Moutinho. does he go with the? So that's your version of our tried and tested midfield of Gini, Henderson, and who's the other one? Fabinho. People used to sort of say it's very dull, it's very basic, but it does the job. And then just unleash the front three on us. Or do you think he's going to revert back to his 5 at the back?
The question is for me as well. It's whether the debate is sort of Fabio Silva as well. Does he come in? Can you accommodate him? Do you sort of sacrifice him and almost play? Because against Arsenal, we sort of had those 3 behind the striker, Neto, Podence, Adama. Do you just take Silva out, put him in as a centre back, like an extra centre back, play the 5, and just play those 3 pacey guys up front? Which is probably what I'm leaning towards. That midfield 3 is quite, as you say, there's not much pace. If we both had those midfield 3s in, there's not much pace between them all, is there? Those 6. So it's a little bit sluggish in there. If you've got those 4 playing, I think we're going to need the 5 to be able to cope, and then you just got to pray, as you say, put the 3 pacey guys up there. I'm interested to see what Fabio Silva can do, because we've only seen him in 20-30 minute stints at a time, but he's more of a, I think he's going to be more of a player when we're playing the lower teams, as in he's a finisher, someone that's going to sort of hang around the 6-yard box. But I think we're going to only have a prayer on the counter attack this time. So a 4 or a 5, neither's going to shock me, to be honest. But I'm kind of leaning towards the 5, because I just don't see how a sort of back 4 against your front foot, I don't see that coming out on top. But I am more confident. I mean, we've never really been thrashed by you guys. I've always come out of the game thinking, if this went different, maybe we could have got something.
It's always been a game of fine margins. Absolutely, you're right.
But I don't think we've even had a point to be like, with City, we did the double over them last season, and I think Liverpool was so different.
Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was hoping it was just within a few points or whatever, so Wolves could put you battered them in the end. So it wasn't only Wolves that helped you out. But no, yeah, it always felt close, but it also there was always an inevitability like that. I remember Firmino got a late one at Molineux. And you think all the chances we've had here, we're not clinical. Liverpool given 1 chance. I think it was even outside the box. It's like, yep, goal, of course it is. And that's a 0 reward for the effort. So if we can break that that ceiling that we've never seemed to be able to get through, even a point, I'd be delighted with a point, just to say, finally, we've got something for our efforts. Because I've always think we played well against Liverpool, and we get nothing for it every time.
There's always fixtures, isn't there? Or there's always clubs that have that, as you said, inevitability about them, that you know the result, however you're playing. But we know these things come to an end, and we're just hoping and praying it's not this weekend, is it? We're getting through games, aren't we, Cal? We're forcing our mentality over the opposition. We're slugging it out. We're not smooth. We're not clinical at the moment. But we're still just managed to qualify as winners of our Champions League group, and we're joint top on goal difference. What is it about us that sort of it's getting us over the line at the moment in every game, near enough?
Honestly, it is the mentality. I don't know what Klopp says to these guys or what he's imprinted at the club, but no matter what we seem to be faced with, we seem to 9 times out of 10 have an answer for it and get through it. And as a Liverpool fan, growing up and seeing our club be so close to winning things and then just bottling it, or something going wrong, to see the team going through all of this, like, could you imagine, let's say, for example, under Rafa or Rodgers, we lost 8 of our best players, which is effectively what's happened. 8 of our best. Could you imagine the turmoil at the club? And we'd be so far off the pace. It's a positive that we're still in touching distance of the top of the league and being at the top of the league, because if we can stay there and our players start coming back, then it sends a real message out to the league. I think we're sending a message out to the rest of the league now, because I think if you put any other club in our situation, they struggle. And again, you only have to look at Man City. They lost Sane last season, they lost the ball, and crumbled. They said that was the reason why they lost the league. But yet we've lost Van Dijk, Gomez, THIAGO, Ox, Keita. We've lost Henderson for chunks. We've lost Alisson, Trent. Who else have I missed off? We've lost Mane and Salah to COVID at some stages, but yet we're still top of the league. That for me says a lot. You have to give us you may not like us as a club, but you have to respect that. If you're not a Liverpool fan, you have to respect it.
Finn, how do you see that from the outside? Sort of, you know, I was speaking to Leicester fans before their game against us, and they were like, "Oh, this is it," because we had so many players out and they were flying. You know, very similar to sort of how we're approaching this game. We haven't got many players coming back for you guys, and you guys have just come off. And I know it's only Arsenal, you know, you've beaten, but still, you know, you're sitting 4 points off the top quietly. No one sort of really talked about Wolves this season. Normally, you know, everyone was talking about Wolves as the sort of surprise package and ready to sort of break the top 6 or top 4 sort of, you know, stranglehold. Again, you've become very consistent quietly. But how do you see, I mean, I don't think you guys see yourself in the title race per se, but sort of in that group where you can finish top 6 very, very easily. How do you see the race, and how do you see Liverpool from the outside? It's interesting to see sort of someone from the outside point of view.
It's just amazing how you haven't crumbled. Like, because you think I mean, we've got no Jimenez, and I mean, there's also Johnny Otto at left back, but we brought in 2 left backs in the summer to sort of cover that area. And I'm thinking, how are we going to cope with that one guy? Let alone just with Van Dijk out, I'd be going, oh, maybe Wolves have got a chance, because I think he's been unbelievable every time Wolves have faced him. I mean, there's that clip of him running against Adama, and you just think this guy is a cheat code. But
now you're getting us. Now you're getting us. This is what we start breaking down, man. Cal, just hold me, bro. Hold me.
Yeah, hold me too, bro. Hold me.
sorry, friend. Yeah, when people mention Verge, we go, man.
Sorry,
but
bro.
Yeah,
okay, that's no
cool,
mention.
Man.
That's cool. A Virgil swear jar. But what's going on with Robertson? Because I'm thinking Adama on the left back. Is he around?
Well, let me tell you what we're dreading. So Trent's come back to training this week, due to come back today in the next couple of days also. But there will be a big doubt if he's going to be sort of fit enough to start against you guys, which is most likely. Now, that would mean Nico Williams up against either Neto or Adama Traore. Now, I think Prudence more plays from the right or through the centre. Am I right, Finn?
Well, it was left last season, but that was because we never had someone in the centre. But I've always said, to be honest, he reminds me of Hazard, just like I was saying about Suarez last season. I said Suarez is Jota, and just because that low centre of gravity, especially me, I'm 6'6", so to have that centre of gravity, I'm so jealous. Like that Arsenal goal, if I tried that, I'd be falling over my own feet. So I think he's really well utilised in that hole. But yeah, left, right, middle, all 3 of them. To be fair, it can be fluid, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Adama one side or the other, or so
the unpredictability from our attack is I think yours is just as unpredictable. You know, I mean, if we start looking into the teams and what we think the likely lineups will be, then maybe it will give us an indication of sort of the battles to look out for. Cal, I think we'll start off with Liverpool. The goalkeeping situation. I said sort of...
Can I stop you, Grizz? There's no situation. Alisson's not fit. Kelleher starts. There's no situation, bro.
For me, the blonde Alisson starts all day of the week. Absolutely. You know, I think me and you are on the same wavelength and same page. We don't want to mention the other fella's name.
Yeah, no.
You know, it might as well be sort of, you know, an empty goal with him standing there. That's how bad we think of him, Finn. No, honestly, we're not joking.
No,
we're serious now. We're very look, when Adrian is mentioned, we get serious, Finn, because he's that bad. I don't know if you remember him from West Ham or whatever.
Me too. You let him play against Villa. Why couldn't you let him play against us? Of all people,
I know. I think my email didn't go through to Klopp or something. I don't know. It wasn't sent to the wrong address. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't get through. That was a disaster. But look, Kelleher, absolute brilliant performance in midweek. Calm, assured. I think is a no-brainer for us. I think Nico Williams, if Trent's not fit, Nico Williams was going to have to start at right back. Any fears, or will that game have done him, you know, brilliant in terms of increasing his confidence, and with the likelihood of playing alongside far better, more experienced players than Matip and Fabinho help him?
Yeah, so if he didn't have a good game midweek, I'd be very, very nervous for him. And I'm still a bit nervous for him because he's up against quality players. But I'm happy he got that game under his belt and he looked a lot more confident, because I don't think it was ever a talent thing for Nico, because I'd watched him a lot in the under-23s and he was really good. He was a standout performer, but his confidence looked shot, and you could see that he was second guessing himself. Like in the under-23s, he's crossing a ball without even thinking about it. For us, he wasn't doing that. It's almost like he was trying to be Trent but not be Trent at the same time, if that makes sense. And
yeah,
it was working against him. So we've got no other alternative. I don't want to see Trent rush back in. And, Nico had a good game, so I think he deserves to play again.
Oh, yeah, I think the rest of the back four picks itself. I think.
I don't know. I mean, Finn, you just revealed you're 6'6". Do you fancy making £20,000 a week until the end of the season? Well, I mean, Grizz, you can put in a call to Tottenham, right?
Look, we're going to go with what we've got. We've got Fabinho and Matip. I don't think the youngsters will step in. Well, cool. Sort of Phillips a youngster, but sort of, he's not that young. But Reece Williams is definitely a youngster. I think we're going to go. Robertson's going to strap his ankle for one big effort before he has a whole week off. So hopefully he's going to be, he's going to be okay, because you got to remember we don't need to play him in midweek.
Yeah.
Midfield's where he gets
Sorry to cut you, Grizz. I think, Finn, you might be able to help with this. Tsimikas played against you guys last season in the Europa, right? And by all accounts, he had a really good game against Adama, didn't he?
He was, honestly, I remember one of my best mates is a Liverpool fan, and he hadn't heard of him when you signed. And I said, honestly, mate, he kept Adama so quiet. We only just scraped past Olympiacos with a penalty. Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't him that gave it away. So he was, he was brilliant. I remember because we got Podence from Olympiacos as well. Because I remember I watched a game where he taught Spurs. Oh, he was unbelievable in a game in the Champions League, and they dropped down into the Europa and played us. But they were the two standout players for me. And whether you could play, so is Robertson's going to be around? Could you even play Tsimikas on the right? I mean,
there is suggestions. There is suggestions. I think because of the couple of extra days rest, I think Klopp's going to just sort of just will them onto one last effort before we have a whole week's rest, because we've qualified in the Champions League. We don't need to play anyone. We're not like me, Cal. Like, we're going to just hook up a few brothers and we're going to go out and probably play ourselves like in midweek.
I got my shin pads ready.
Yeah, I don't play with shin pads, bro. I'm real. Yeah. So look, I think it's going to. I don't think we can't risk Tsimikas and Nico Williams against, especially the attack that you guys have got. I just don't see it happening. I think we're going to go with Robbo. Interesting in midfield, Henderson, slight knock in his back. Klopp alluded to. Gini's going to be asked to play because Gini's bionic, man. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever guys watched the $1 Million Man. He's our $1 Million man. Gini is out of this world. He's going to be asked
to get him a new contract, man. Get him a new contract.
Yeah, exactly. People showing so much stupidity in the summer, asking him to go and telling him to go, and just imagine where we'd be without Gini Wijnaldum this season. It's frightening. I think he's going to be asked to go again, Cal, in midfield. Who goes inside him, or do you pick a 3? Because I picked a 2. I don't know. You might differ.
I'm picking a 2 as well. Henderson next to him, got to be captain.
It's got to be, man. It's got. I know he had a pick.
We're different. We're different.
Get that? Yeah, exactly. Rub some oil on it, or do what you got to do. And then just slug it out, and then the front 4. Finn, how you guys going to set up? So let's hear your lineup, so I can pass it on.
I'll give you 10, and then it's either going to be a striker or a centre back. So the 10 that probably will play. You'll obviously have Patricio in goal. Marcel is the more defensive wing back / fullback that we play on the left. It'll be Cody and Willy Bolly with Nelson Semedo at right back, who looks a lot more at home as a fullback than a wing back. I think last year when he had Messi in front of him, he wasn't really used to going forward. It was like sort of let that guy go and do it, and I'll stay here. So he's looking much more at home there. Last game, Ruben Neves was dropped, and Moutinho, a sort of play that Wolves were sort of saying, okay, he's going to be phasing out this year. He's 34 now. He was unbelievable against Arsenal. So I don't think you can drop either Moutinho or Dendoncker. It will definitely be Neto, Podence, Adama, as we've referenced quite a lot. And then it's either an extra midfielder in there in Neves, a striker at the top of it, a natural striker in Fabio Silva, or a third centre-back to come in, which would probably be Max Kilman and then move Cody to the centre. So those sort of 10 are nailed on. It's just where they put that other player to change the formation.
Do you know, you mentioned Matt Kilman. Where are you finding these tall, strong?
Must be the best. Must be one of the best scouting networks in the league, easily.
Well, from Maidenhead in the whatever league there. He's got Russian. He's half Russian, half English, and his name is brilliant. Literally, it's like maximum kill. It's brilliant, kill man. It's incredible. That's a big scary Russian bloke. But no, he doesn't sound Russian at all. But he's left-footed, ball playing, English centre half, 6'5". I said he has 5 good games, and you're going, hang on, is he getting on the plane in the summer? So I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. And he is, despite only breaking through this season, I think he's 23. He's been a sort of a late bloomer. So he's not exactly this young guy.
Bowley's been a late bloomer. Cody's a late bloomer. Like, what's with this? Marcel.
He was as well. He was very average in the championship.
Jimenez, we've touched upon late bloomer. What's with these late bloomers, man?
The scout. I respect Wolves so much. The scouting network is so
Neto's the biggest one. I'd never heard of him. I like to think I've got good football knowledge. And we got this kid from Lazio, and we're going 15 million for someone I've never heard of. And he's honestly, honestly,
I rate him so highly.
You just spoke in my brain, honestly.
So highly.
Neto is deadly. Now, I don't want to. Finn's going to start feeling insecure here, and it's like, why are these guys talking about another forward? And he's sensational. And as you talked about, you touched upon the Silva guy. He comes with a massive reputation. You're right. I agree with you. I don't know if your coach is adventurous enough to sort of thrust him in there and then play the 3 behind. I don't think he's going to be brave enough to do that. I think he's going to revert to type for this game. I mean, you never know. It's a mad season. He may think this is our best opportunity to really go at them and sort of catch them off guard, because we're, as Cal says, there's no other way for playing for us. Where we have to go with what we've got, and we've got loads of forwards that are in form and firing. Yeah. Well, as he said, Sadio's a slightly out of form. Yeah. But I think a world-class performance is around the corner from Sadio anytime. Yeah. We only know one way to play. Wolves like to control games. From what I've seen of Wolves really like to control games, home or away. It's just built in their philosophy. I thought they'd done a job on Arsenal. I mean, I thought he was comfortable against Arsenal. Did you play a 4 or 5?
You guys look so easy against Arsenal. You made it look easy.
Yeah, we could have had a few more, and then it was a 4, and then we do this thing in the last 10 minutes where we just say, have as many shots as you want, because we're going to put 10 in front of it and we're going to try and throw our bodies at it. And it's horrible, especially when you've been so dominant, and then you go, right, let's just give you this little potential get out of jail. But we reverted to the 5 then, brought Kilman on. And we very rarely win by more than 1 goal if we do. So it's always tense. But yeah, for that 80 minutes, especially with the situation in the game with Jimenez to be that sort of calm mentally to control it, it was brilliant. And obviously this is a very tough test. Well, much tougher test this weekend.
Just a quick one. Morton's sort of, I think, took offence to my comment about we only know one way to play. I meant like in our current state, Morton. We have got no defenders. We only have 2 fit human beings to stand in midfield. So, we only know how to play currently with the squad. That's all I meant. I know normally we have many ways of winning games, and we're the best team in the world, all that stuff. But listen, I'm going to ask for some prediction after that big build that we've done for teams. Put your balls on the table, so to speak. Finn, I'm going to go with you second because you're a guest. I'm going to go with Cal first. Cal, what are you saying, man? Talk to me about this game, how it's going to go.
So I've been quite consistent. I've said 2-1 Liverpool, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game. In fact, I'll be honest, I hate watching Wolves versus Liverpool live. If we win it and I watch the game back, I enjoy the game because I know we've won it. Like watching the game back last season, both games back last season, I could enjoy the football because both teams play good football.
They make us work.
They make us work. Yeah, they do.
Not only physically, but mentally, they make us think about our game. Yeah. Even
Nuno makes Klopp work as well because Klopp has to always, match what Nuno's doing. And I'm going 2-1, but I expect to have some grey hair by the end of the game.
Yeah, Nuno's not being very talkative in the household this week. He hasn't told me much about sort of the tactics that he's going to employ against Liverpool. So, you know, it's a family affair this weekend. But Finn is saying, how's it going to go this week?
So it's Nathan Redmen as well. Nuno gets an old Nathan Redmen.
Yeah. He's our brother. We don't talk about him much.
Oh yeah.
Me and Nuno are the real ones. Yeah.
He's like a distant cousin, Nathan.
Distant cousin, yeah. We call him Nate.
Oh yeah. You've got to account for the Jota hat trick, obviously, that's inevitable. So that's for Liverpool already. But I would like to see, because Wolves haven't. I know there's been a lot of crazy scores this year, and Wolves haven't had a real goal fest. And I'm going to hope for a draw optimistically. So I'm going to say 3-3, and Jota's going to get them all. And then one of each from the front three, and then you can nab a ball next year or whatever.
I can't fill you in. Finn's made a mad prediction once, right? That went fucking viral all over the world, right? With his Man. What was the prediction you done for the Man City game?
Mate. Not only it was Boovy as well. Do you not remember when he called Adama Traore was going to championship player? I put a bet on 700 to 1. I was sat in a Wetherspoons in Manchester, and it was 1-0 Wolves. Adama Traore to score first. So then Adama Traore runs through, scores 1-0. Yes, 89th minute. Wolves are going to win 1-0. I'm going to have won 700 quid. He goes and scores again. Makes it 2-0. So everyone around me is losing their mind. Yes, secured at Etihad, and I feel like crying. Honestly, I got so much abuse in the comments because I was going, "Don't score, don't score, don't score."
701. I mean, imagine that. But Finn's got a reputation for making accurate.
I hope your reputation tells you the time. I'm not going to lie.
So you've gone for a 3-0. You know what? I think it's going to be an absolute humdinger as well, man. I'm going to go. I was going to say 2-2, but then my comments and mentions are going to go mad like you're a pussy. So
balls on the table, as you said, Grizz.
No. You know what? I'm going to stick with it. Balls on the table. I'm just going to stick with it. I rate Wolves, you know, Cal, and I think we may have a bit of sluggishness to our play because Ajax made us work hard, and we haven't got much scope for rotation and freshening things up. I'm going to go for 2-2, but I always. And the people that watch me and listen know that I will reassess once the teams are out. Yeah. What real football men do, we look at the teams, we assess the team, the lineups, the tactics, and then I'll give my final prediction. But at the moment, it's 2-2. But guys, look, I've got it already. Piss off, Grizz. You know, there you go, Gav. You're in there. Shout out to Gav. Shout out to Gav. You know, you're talking about small, sharp, short little nippy players. Gav would be an ideal attacker for you guys, Finn, man. I'm telling you, man, he's deadly. Guys, absolutely deadly. We could easily swap him for Neto, no problem. But guys, I've taken up too much of your time. I did say it's going to be about 45 minutes, but you know, when we start chatting footy, there's nothing better in it to get out of this feeling of sadness that seems to be everywhere around us. Finn, just let the people know where they can catch you and chat to you more, because I'm sure you've got a lot of love in the chat today, so they're going to want to know where they can find you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've done sort of match day vlogs and stuff like that. Obviously readjusted that at the moment. I'm sort of doing a Wolves goggle box style thing. Got lots of families around the country watching Wolves.
Excellent.
It's been to make, so I'm doing that on YouTube. Finners, FINERRZ. So there'll be one at the weekend. I'll try not to be rude about Liverpool if you guys are going to watch. So yeah, thank you if anyone wants to pop over.
No problem. Excellent stuff, man. Cal, what are you saying, man? Where can people find you as well? They know, but just let them hear it again.
So you can find me on Team Kopish, so KOPISH, along with Matt and Drifty. I also do a weekly show on the Football Terrace, so that Liverpool show on the Football Terrace as well. Plus, you'll see me just littered around on different channels, just getting around and speaking about Liverpool.
That's what happens when you're super talented, man in demand, man. Keep it up, man.
Getting there.
Always got time for my brother Cal.
Thank you, bro.
Hope the LFC Daytrippers community enjoyed that. I think we've done a decent job in the end, man. We don't normally do previews on this show, but this one had to be done. Short notice, man. Cal and Finn helped me out there. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Khanage. I think there'll be carnage on the pitch on Sunday. So we look forward to that, and we catch you again. So peace out. Bye.